Okay, good morning, everybody. Quite a move in the overnight session. If you look at some of the news here from the overnight session, stocks decline, bonds yields surge, and oil prices jump after Trump reignited geopolitical tensions by declaring the ceasefire between U.S. and Iran. Trump did not repeat termination of the interim deal, and Trump said Iran memorandum of understanding, I think, is finished. And then we had this going on. Like, what president says this? We'll probably hit them tonight. Dude. Iran, yeah, we will probably hit them tonight. Again. Like, what? Why? It's just such a weird way of speaking about things. So nonchalantly about just bombing people. Regardless, I don't want to get into politics. It affects us because if you look now at what happened in the overnight session, look at here at yes. See that we cut underneath 50-day moving average, which you see right here. Actually, let me get this fired up here. I have my highlighter set up here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Yeah, so if we look at this, here's the 50-day simple moving average on TradingView for ES. So we came below that on that news, and then we rose back up to VWAP, which is where we're sitting right now, right around VWAP. If you look at the full session on the volumetric, you'll observe that we have the full session developing volume profile is quite a bit down below us. And we're also significantly down below the previous day volume profile. So my initial thought is there's downward pressure. We have the additional fun of not only dealing with Trump tweeting about this stuff, but we also have at 12 o'clock Mountain Time, 2 o'clock Eastern, we have FOMC minutes, which could introduce some additional volatility and potentially mute price action in the time before that news. I feel like I probably uttered in the past to myself that I do not want to trade on days with FOMC. And now with Trump tweeting about Iran, I'm even less enthusiastic about trading during this day. But we will sit here and see what happens. It's interesting if you look at the volumetric chart. There is a lot of buying here that gets getting stuffed in the pre-market. At VWAP, we have absorption. We got stacked buyer volume imbalance. Get in a little closer on this here so you can kind of see what this looks like. Yes, we have buyer absorption. We have stacked buyer volume imbalance. We have more stacked buyer volume imbalance followed by stacked selling imbalance, which mitigated this and was able to move price lower. So it tells me we are seeing some resistance to the upside. Additionally, if you look at the session volume, we have the cumulative volume. It's fairly green on the full session. The RTH doesn't really matter yet because that's not started yet. And then we look at the cumulative volume. This is the delta down here, by the way. But the cumulative volume, right here, we have 50+% above the 14-day look-back period, and similar probably with NQ, right? Yeah, NQ. We're also looking at something similar with that, where we have, looks like 29%. Is this working here? It's not working here. What's going on here? Yeah, 29% above the 14-day look-back period. Range, we've almost captured the entire range from a normal full session, which I think that combined with, yeah, we see the same thing on ES, right? Why is this doing this morning? Where we've captured all of the range. We're 6% above the typical full range in a session. We've captured all of that in the pre-market. So I think that with FOMC coming up, we might see muted price action. But when there's Iran news like this in the overnight session, that sometimes can have a bit of impulsive move at the open as people try to rebalance their accounts based on the new market context. So that's where we're at. Let's see what Joy has to say this morning. Okay, going pre-market for ES and NQ. Yeah, let's see what she's got here. Okay. Short, see one long, short, one long. Position sizing. Okay. Let's go back up here. Volume. What is her volume base? Oh, here we go. Okay, so her look back period seems to be a bit different. I got to check in on this and see what's going on. Because we're seeing here she's got the same amount of volume as I'm observing here. And NQ, but saying 67% where, oh, that's about right. Okay. I mean, it's 67 versus 57. Okay. And the range, 100%. So, yeah, we got high volume, but we've actually taken a lot of the ATR already based on the look back period. Looking at my key levels here. Previous day, ETH high, 676.01, which we see that up here. Okay, so these are all legit. We see the overnight high, 7563, 7563. POC, yep. I marked those levels already this morning. Okay, so these are all good. Although she's got the pocket 7579, 7580. Is that true? Let me check this out really quick. Oh, it is 7580. Okay. Well, I have this. So, okay, she got 7570 for the value area high. It's been 10 points each other. Regardless, we got some alignment on the values here. Previous day delta zones. We have 7570, 7585 trapped longs. Right in this area here, right? Pretty much at the opening range high from the previous day. News, yes, we got FOMC. Biased, deeply bearish overnight. Correct. Gap analysis, large on both instruments. Structure, we are biased to the downside. It's significantly below the previous day POC on ES and NQ. POC migration and LVN analysis. ES shows a single day LVN zone at 75.27, 75.32. NQ shows a gap. These will act as air pockets. And that, okay, so that's interesting. 75.27, that's right around this area here. So pretty much at, yeah, this opening range low to the low day area. Okay, so I want to talk to her really quick about that. Let's see what she got for scenarios first. Okay, so overnight high short, that sounds legit. Yep, I would be 100% down for that. Let's mark that into front run this value. I mean, that's a pretty money spot actually, right? Because you look at what we have there as far as levels go, there's a lot going on there. We have the not only overnight high, but we also have the previous day point of control, the POC, and the +2 VWAP. So, and if you look at the previous day, there was this area of resistance before it dropped again down for the second leg. So, yeah, this area is definitely an area of interest. I like that a lot. Short at previous day value area high. She has that at 70. I have mine up at 80. Okay, so we're gonna agree to disagree on this. Back test it up. And that 70, when you think about this, is truly, it's still in this range, right? I mean, it's 7 points away from all this other setup, and I don't know if I really consider that a different setup. I'm gonna be looking for a short in that range regardless. So to me, I'm gonna mark this down as the value of period of front runs because I see another area of alignment on price here. So there's confluence of signals, which is we have what I see is the previous day value area high on my NinjaTrader chart, and we also have the 5-day value area high aggregate. So there's two levels here, and we see that's pretty much within what 6-7 points of the high day, that opening range high. So this can be an area of resistance as well if we get up that high. And then long scalp at overnight low. That I want to talk to her about because I have concerns around that. Why, yes, that could be valid. We also have the July 2nd low day down here. We have the 50-day simple moving average. I want to see where she observes that at. I also wonder if the opening range low could be a good area to go short. I mean, she mentioned about that LVN, but I'm observing here we had, what's this here? We had support. Let me bring this back in here. So here's the opening range low. We had support down at this area here, again here, and kind of breaking through here. So we potentially could see that act as a point of resistance as well. And I'm also observing that we have the +1 VWAP at that point as well. Let's see what she has to say about that. I mean, look at actually the charts here. If I'm thinking 7551, what do we got here? Yeah, you see where I have the value area low here. 7, 5, 4, 6. 7546 down to this area at 7538. And we see 7538, which is at that +1 VWAP, which puts us right at the few areas here. We have a stacked seller imbalance. We have this supply zone, and we have, so these are all plus deltas. These are all, these are all buyer deltas. Plus 542, plus, okay, what happened there? 400. Can we have a delta reconnection? Plus, this is minus 500. Then we have plus 600, plus 535. So there's quite a few buyers trapped up here, all the way up to this area here. We had more buyer deltas on the previous day volume profile in the RTH session. Let's get to ask Joy about some of these questions we have here. Hey, Joy, I have a few questions for you. One, on the short, where do you observe any early resistance before the overnight high? I see the opening range low is down by 7.5 through 8.75, and it looks like we tested that area into the close in yesterday's RTH session, and we've tested a couple more times in the overnight session. I'm also observing the previous day value area low down at 7546. So it feels like this range could be a potential area of resistance between 7538 and 7546. I should talk about that delta too. I'm also observing some potential trapped buyers on the volume profile delta in the previous RTH session, and a potential supply zone in that area as well at that value area low on the previous day. To the downside, I'm observing that we have the 50-day simple moving average down at 7492. And I'd be curious to see where you observe that. I'm also observing the low a day from July 2nd down at 7479. And both of these levels are front running the overnight low down at 7468. Can you give me your thoughts around these two areas of interest? Okay, let's see what she's got. Okay, you've identified two critical areas of friction that need to be accounted for. You're correct that they are significant, but we need to refine the levels based on the footprint and composite data. Again, Joy, for those that are new here, this I built her off of my NinjaTrader indicator data and dump it into a VPS database, and then she analyzes it and get all kinds of, tables and whatnot on the back end that she connects into and can analyze things in real time based on order flow data. This is actually tick level data, not open, high, low, close, and volume. Okay, read on this area. Acting as resistance is supported by the 5-day composite and the previous day val. Mentioned open range low. The volume profile shows that price is currently trading near, meaning we are approaching the zone. Wait, is that right? Yeah. These are now trap longs. When price returns to the zone, those traders will likely sell to get out at break even, providing the supply zone or resistance you observed. Analysis, this is A+ area to look for buyer absorption. If we pop into 7543, 7546 and see aggressive buying that fails to move price higher and the short thesis is reinforced, I am adding a scenario for this primary resistance zone that sits well below the overnight high. Cool. Downside buffer, you identified the 50-day simple moving average at 7492 and the July 2nd 7479 low a day. They're above that area. Implication, these levels aren't front running overnight low. Since we broke them overnight, but they will act as major hurdles for any relief. Okay, so she's arguing that we're not front running because we've tested these levels already. So kind of first test is best. And since it failed already once, it's not as structurally significant. She's saying 7.5. Wait, the fact that we're currently trading below 7492 is a massive bearish signal. Okay. We're not currently there. Where's she? Where do you see price currently at? Let's see how fresh her data is here. Okay, 7510. Okay. Look at that, huh? Real-time data. Just got that dead on. Nice job. Okay, especially the fact that we're currently trading below. I think she's saying, in a sense, that we have traded below there is a bear signal. The healthy bull market, the 50-day SMA usually provides a bounce. Trading below it at a sustained level suggests a change in intermediate term regime. Action plan adjustments. I'm updating the ES scenarios to include that 7543 zone you flagged. It's the more immediate decision point on the RTH open than the higher levels. Okay, short. Thank you, Joy. Okay, we're going to mark this 7570 on the chart. Wait, where's this value here? Overnight low. Where is this here? Oh, the current scenarios. Okay. She's just restating those. I gotcha. Does she have those added on here? Let me go to my checklist that she's created now based on our scenarios. Okay, added this on here. 7543. Yeah, I'm gonna mark it. I'm gonna front run this a little bit. Down at the previous day opening range on the 60 minutes, opening range low. Mark that, save it. So yeah, like that. Like the short at the long at the overnight low. Not as much as the others though. But I said the same yesterday where I didn't care for the long here, and look how that played out. So this could be another good play possibly. Let's not be too biased. We have the short at the previous day value area high, which in my estimation is kind of more grouped into this because of its proximity based on the 14-day ATR. Look at the 5-minute ATR is at 6.66, the devil's number. So if that's within 6 points of this, you look at that 6 points on 7563. We're looking at 7569. It puts us, close to 7570, right? So these are pretty much the same play in my estimation. And then short the overnight high, which is kind of what we talked about here. So, okay, we'll approve all those. Joy starts recording, and so what helps me talking to everybody here is that she records all my audio, all my thoughts, and so if I think out loud when I take trades, she's able to help automatically create my trade journal for me based on the way I'm talking about how I'm looking at the market. And then she'll be able to better write out my journal for me and give the reasons in my thought process about why I thought in the moment why I should take a trade. I only marked this overnight low here, did I? Let's mark this really quick. 7468. I'm going to mark this, just give awareness for me, down at the low day from July 2nd, just so I'm from running that a little bit, not to necessarily enter there. I'm going to just mark the 50-day just so I have awareness what price is doing in case I get distracted. 50-day SMA applied. Save. Okay, cool. Market opens in about 5 minutes. Trump, anything crazy? Yeah, just, dude, if we make an Iran deal, it may not stick. If necessary, we'll protect Iran. Wait, Iran? What's going on with Iran? Ukraine, rather. Ukraine skies. Were we talking about two wars this morning? Putin wants to meet Zelensky in Moscow. Not likely. What? So we got talking about two wars this morning. We got Ukraine and Iran. Okay, well, we got that. Take a deep breath. FOMC, Trump tweeting about or talking about two different wars. It's gonna be and we got some like high volume coming out of the pre-market. We've pretty much met our full range. I was gonna ask Joy about that, right? Let's ask her about that really quick. Hey Joy, one other thought. Since we've captured most of the range, both on NQ and ES, for the full session already in the pre-market, what are your thoughts about price action potentially being muted, given that we've already met or satisfied the typical 14-day look-back period on the range for both instruments? Let's see what she has to say about that. It's a sharp observation. Highlighting the risk of a completed move before the RTA session begins. Range exhaustion risk. You are correct that we have already satisfied a large portion of the expected daily volatility. Yeah, 100% on ES, 91% on NQ. The resulting scenario is when the market exhausts its ATR overnight RTH, it usually does one of two things. The inside day, muted choice. The price chops within overnight extreme areas. On ES, this is the demolition derby outcome where the big money was made while we were sleeping, and the cash session is just high frequency noise and mean reversion. And then there's the trend extension choice. If volume remains at these elevated levels, it's just institutional liquidation. In this case, the overnight range isn't the limit, it's the launch pad. If we break the overnight low with heavy sell data, we are looking at an ATR expansion day, which can run 150 to 200% of ATR. Because we have already met the range quota, the middle ground is even higher. Since the extremes are so far apart, price can move 30 to 40 points in ES without actually hitting a structural level and lure you into a trade and then reverse. My analysis expects street race that feels like a demolition derby in the middle. The probability of balanced, choppy price action between the 7543 resistance and the 7468 low is very high. Tactical adjustment, tighten the leash. If a trade doesn't move in your favor immediately, don't sit in it. ATR is high, but price discovery might be done. Extreme only mode. Okay. Good observation. So with about 2 minutes left here, let's take a read of that. Let's look at the 1 hour chart here really quick on ES. So here's the 50-day simple moving average, and here's the overnight low down here. If we cut through here, see like the next key level is down at the low a week, June 28th, down at 7409, down to 7400. So yeah, bro, if this breaks here, we could see some significant downside movement. So yeah, stay frosty. We'll see what happens here this morning. I'm gonna be intentionally restrained this morning. We got 1 minute left to go till the opening bell. I think the play you're looking for here, if I was going to be interested in anything, is going to be this area up here, 7537 to 7546. What you're looking up here. You got strong selling imbalance on the first. Actually, it's not even the first move here. Interesting. Somebody's starting to get a little trigger happy there, but we did see some absorb buyers, a stacked buying volume imbalance met with a stacked seller imbalance, and we're showing more stacked selling imbalance in the opening, in the minute before the open. Good God. We may take over Karg Island, Trump. Yeah, just dude, just like going off right at market open. A blockade would only apply to Iran. We may put down a blockade in Iran. It may be a big attack. Okay, market's open. Let's stick to our plan, manage our risk, and preserve our mental and emotional capital today. If we don't blow things up and manage our portfolio, eventually we'll figure this out and be a consistently profitable trader, which is the goal. I have, I think, like 250 left now on this eval account. Last 2 days, I think I've been like either flat or a small drawdown. But in the past, I could have been see myself over trading as well. So trying to make things work. My style is I like to see certain setups and then just kind of load into them. I've not really seen these in the last couple of days after the holiday weekend. Mm-hmm. And let's keep in mind what I had yesterday from Joy in my trading journal. She mentioned to make sure that I am aligned with the cumulative delta on the 5 minute. I often found myself trading against that in the previous day, so I'm going to try to be consciously aware of that. Mm-hmm. Okay. How's everything looking here? This is yes. It's hanging out in this range we've had for the last hour. See that on the 1000 on the 1000 chart here. 1000 volume chart. It's been kind of ranging for the last hour. And then there are other instruments we see that, let's see, Dow is small movement downward, whereas, oh, look at that, NQ. For those of you playing NQ, it's popping up into supply, looks like. Interesting. What's up here on NQ? We get the value area low at 29339 from the previous day. There was a really massive seller delta here at what price level is it? NQ 29350. We have minus 1300 seller delta, and that being so close to the value area low, that could be an area where you could see price being smacked down. Again, I don't trade NQ on the regular, so I'm not gonna speak about that authoritatively. There are others here who know more about NQ than I do. And the Dow, what's the Dow doing here? It's got a somewhat of a movement to the downside right now. Do have oil up today. Oil, it's kind of been migrating to the downside as well. Interesting. Although if you look at the higher time frame, A lot of supply here, right? A lot of lower highs. Man, this is pretty kind of nice to read here, isn't this? A lower high, lower high, lower high, forming supply. We're coming into supply. Interesting. I used to trade oil a bit in the past. I haven't really done that much of recent, but maybe it's time to start looking at oil again. Had a pop up here, though, when we had probably that war news on Iran from Trump. Okay, back to ES. So far, in the opening 5 minutes, we're looking at a range of, really? 15 points? Is that true? Guess so. Volume is kind of right in the ballpark we'd find on a typical open. On the 14-day look-back period, 39,000. But we're seeing, interesting, we really have 100% on these. 100% delta on all these? That seems, that's really unusual, actually. Thought maybe the indicator is like freaking out for a second, but I see the 46%, 41%, so the indicator is reading things correctly. Just for, there was like, sellers had delta control, then buyers. There's like back and forth here of some parties, or a party batting things back and forth around the VWAP axle. It's getting wrapped around that. You can see right now we're forming nice little D shape volume profile, which is indicative of balance, but keep in mind we are looking at a significant drop in the overnight session with value migrating to the downside in the full session from the previous day volume profile. And again, I'm looking or more interested in playing like these levels up here. Pretty much, I would say closer like this area here, this supply zone, stacked seller volume balance, and then we have all of these. Bring this in closer here. We got all these delta here in the volume profile right at the value area low in the supply, which to me feels like that could be an area of resistance, which aligns with what I'm having. One of my setups here looking at for a short in the 735 to 746 zone that we confirmed with Joy this morning for our trade plan this morning. Okay. 75. Oh, yeah, sick. Yeah, 15-point range so far in the open. Still printing some odd round values for the delta. I'm not observing that on the footprint chart. There's a see a seller delta here forming with I saw a buyer absorption. Yeah, see that buyer absorption kind of starting to show up here. And we get this 500 delta on the full session volume profile, which we've seen in the pre-market. A lot of buying that gets stuffed around VWAP. Buying and balance, buying and balance, buying and balance, buying and balance. So either we're trapping sellers here potentially for move up, or they're passively soaking up this this buying. But we look at the cumulative delta, it's all red, although it's not significant. says diverging because we do have like that full session versus RTH. It's not fully aligned. We still have some positive values, and I usually don't pay too much attention to the cumulative delta until it starts getting like a 1,000 plus. Nope, looks like that. Look at this. Got a buyer delta on the footprint, 134, then a 44% buyer delta with a stacked buying to balance, followed up by a delta of sellers, and they're looking to push it back down here. See if they can hold that VWAP. Might become to the July 7th low day, which means we might see an opportunity for us to get into our short. Up in this supply zone above. And look at the velocity indicator. The way I look at the velocity indicator that I developed, which I haven't released this yet, but I am working on it and fine-tuning it, is that I have each bar in my chart forms when there's 1,000 contracts traded. And so since the x-axis here is time-based, but my bars are volume-based, that means when there's more bars formed per minute, it means there's more contracts, which means there's a higher velocity. And that's kind of what this is tracking down here, is that velocity. Our participants speeding up the tape. It's pretty much for me, an easier way to scan has the tape sped up. This is like a time and kind of a poor man's time in sales, or somebody who just doesn't like reading the tape. This, I'm able to see real time what's happening and also see the historical read of what that tape speed was. Okay, I'm going to shut down one of these, couple of these charts here, because I have now twice this morning I've observed things reloading on me, and I have like 8 different volumetric charts open, whether it's on the actually volumetric charts up here or down here where I'm running like 2 data series, the open, high, low, close, and the volume, and then a second series of the volumetric data to inform the data on the footprint that gets passed over into the bar chart. And like reading the bar chart for order flow data, I find it just a little bit easier to read it. I don't get too caught up in the details that you see on a volumetric chart. If I want to, I can always scan in here and check things out, or zoom out a little bit and just see at least the shape of the footprints, which nothing really significant here. I mean, I guess you could argue that this here is a P shape up here, and then we had a selling imbalance, pushed price down, and kind of kept it down, and it looks like it might be whoever was there before, the sellers, there might be present here again. The cumulative delta is pretty much flat for all intents and purposes, nothing directional. Let's see, OpenAI, GPT 5.6, lift restrictions. Again, we have FOMC today at 2 Eastern, 12 Mountain. Might see muted price action. Use the Eastern time as you want to see it from that perspective. Got some minor news coming up in about 15 minutes. Wholesale inventories and then crude oil in 45 minutes. I think the only thing of interest, we have a lot of larger participation happen here with, see up here, this stacked buyer volume balance with the 44.1% buying delta that failed to move price up. And we're at the value area high on the full session. That could be a confluence of signals for price to find some headwinds here before moving up. We see the cumulative delta showing that there is more aggressive market buyers in the full session and the RTH session. Not by much. It's pretty negligible, to be honest. It's anything I feel that's plus or minus 1,000 is not significant. At least not significant enough to take a move on. Okay, got some, look at that, some stacked buying volume and balance happening here on the volumetric chart. But we got some absorb buyers happening here now, and looks starting to look a little P-shaped here. We won't know the full answer there until it actually is resolved, but yeah, that's not looking good for buyers. And that's happening right around the value area high in the full session, and it's happening where buyers were absorbed previously. So this isn't part of my setup from this morning. I'm looking to go higher up here to this area around 7538, 7546 by the value area low from the previous day. And there was some buying delta here that might continue to be trapped. If you do look at the RTH session volume profile and look at my trailing lines here, the volume, the point of control actually, see how it's kind of been this yellow trail here and it jumped up. So technically value is migrating to the upside. You see that's true even the value area high, it's migrating to the upside. The value area low is starting to migrate up as well. So in this opening 18 minutes, we're seeing some value being established higher. I'm really questioning 100%. That seems just highly unlikely. I'm going to have to check in this and see what's going on here. What's going on with the indicator here? Footprint. Divergence, footprint, volume imbalance. Footprint volume. Min delta percentage, 40. I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take a picture of this and have my agents look at that. Not right now, but the 100% flat value, that does not read right at all. And that's weird because it was showing non 100% values back here in the pre-market, but once the market opened, it's showing only 100% value. So I'm kind of putting less trust in that, unfortunately. I have to check that, make sure there's no issues here, or if it's an issue with data coming in. Whoa, what was that? Look at that. Yeah, they got stuffed. This is kind of what Joy said, right? If we're playing anywhere in this range, I mean, how did she phrase this? Let's go back. I need to put words in her mouth, I guess. What did she say? The risk of the middle ground is higher. Okay, so price could chop within the overnight extremes between 7,468 up here down to wait, no, 7,468. I'm sorry, 7,468 down here. Seven four six eight to 7,563. It's pretty much this whole area here. Chop. That's what Joy is saying. Is we have chop here. I do have the one, set up to go short up here, but that's why I'm not enthusiastic about playing this price action here. Yeah, something's weird with the data this morning. That's like the third time it's reset, despite you closing some charts. I'm going to close the Dow as well. Okay, so now we have two charts available here on the bar chart and on the volumetric chart. Never had this happen before, so I'm thinking it might be because I have so many things open. You see those 100% values also cleared out on that reset, but these retained. It's either NinjaTrader or my data feed or the platform. Something's kind of going a little unusual this morning, though. And checking any other instruments, we see NQ. Looks like it was stuffed at the July 7th close, up at 29,400. And it's trading down back at this level. We had support here previously, right? We had support before the market closed, in the pre-market, and again here. And it looks like it might be supporting here again as well, but then we had resistance, closely up above. So we don't have a clear runway. It's like this whole area here is a kind of a chop zone between 29300 and 29400 on NQ. And the Dow, yeah, it's just kind of hanging out as well. It's not, it's meeting that pre-market resistance right here. But I don't think it's something as obvious as we saw as on NQ. Okay, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to step away for a second, say goodbye to the kiddos before they go to camp. Be back in 5. Okay. Think I missed anything here? A 23-point range on ES. I guess this could have been a nice little scalp down to VWAP. Which, I don't know, maybe we opened some scalp in here today. Could have got like a little 10 points out of that. Just don't really care for playing those muted ranges where there's like a runway of less than 10, only 10 points or less. Yeah, so far nothing significant here. And the play we're looking for is this play right here. Short at the primary resistance zone, which is going to be pretty much this area here. Oh man, I just did that again, didn't I? Oh, it's still playing. Okay, good. This right here, this range. Okay, I borked my recording here. It stopped it. I'm gonna see if I can fire it up again here. Does it work? It doesn't work. Yeah, I kind of borked stuff on the refresh. I gotta fix that bug. And this is why this is still just in my private use right now and not available publicly yet. See some stacked buy and volume balance here and some buyer absorption happening. See if we can do this again. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Okay. So my recording stopped, so the audio didn't work, but I can upload the audio from the video recording here, so I'll have that to use as a backup to do my automatic journal. Checklist. NQ. I might be calling this. We got the first 30 minutes under our belt here, and nothing happening here. We've got, for all intents and purposes, we have just a D shape. Nothing happening there. Probably something similar on NQ, right? A little bit of a tail to the downside, but it's pretty much D shape right now. And it's messing around inside of a supply zone. So there's just a lot here. It's really ugly to the upside on NQ. not really a clear path to move forward on this. And we are playing around in this area where they had this big seller delta of 13.485, which you see price has kind of been having a hard time getting above that. The value area high from today is close to that delta. And technically, this is balance. We got some of the value area overlapping with the previous day value area. That's often an indication of balance or a tendency towards being balanced price action. ES is a little more to the downside as far as pressure because the two value areas aren't aligning on the previous day and current day RTH volume profile, which is why I'm looking to short pops. JD, do you feel that your AI has made you more confident in your trading? That's a great question. I think what Joy has done is she's helped me to be more disciplined about taking only the setups that I plan on taking in the morning in the pre-market plan. And so I definitely have noticed that I'm not blowing up like the current account I have. I think the AI from Joy, all the feedback I have from her, has helped along with the risk managing indicator that I have here, which helps me to better plan my entries and exits based on my actual capital risk, and I can adjust my trades accordingly. Has helped me be a better trader. I'm not having any max loss days. I'm not blowing up accounts. It's taking a long time though. I'm in my 3rd month on this eval, but I'm also working a full-time job like many of you here and the MarketXero business and 2 young kids. So a lot going on. And I think just that discipline that she's helped me with is, I think, coming across in my account. I think the other thing actually has helped me out as well, which is a bit more qualitative rather than quantitative, is the sanity checks I get, because I might have some crazy ideas sometimes to do something. And so I'll run it past her first, like, hey, I'm seeing this. Is this valid? Like you see that this morning in the pre-market plan. Thanks, JD. That I checked like these areas of interest. Is this like a actual valid area for me to go short or long? And she will tell me when it works and when actually it's something worthwhile to look at. Or she'll tell me, like, no, that's not valid. Like you can see even this morning, I thought, oh, the 50-day moving average might be a good area for potential long fade. And she said no, because it's been tested already. So I think those sanity checks had helped a lot to make sure I'm not taking poor setups. And then the other sanity check is she reminds me of my rules. So I don't want to play past a certain time. I want to limit myself to certain kind of trades. And so she reminds me when I'm possibly considering doing things that are outside of that, or analyzing my journal and seeing that I've actually done some not smart things and outside of what I said I'm going to do, and holds me accountable. So the next day in the pre-market plan, she can see my journal and then tell me, hey, you had these plans, you didn't do this. So today you're going to have to be more restrained because you're starting to show signs of being tilt or irresponsible. I think that actually might have been the bigger value, is that qualitative aspect. So once I kind of work out some of these bugs here, like the recording breaking when I refresh the page accidentally, I also want to add inside the Journal Zoo application here with Joy, when she does analyze my trades. You see right now, like today is pending, but I go like the previous day where I made a whopping 75 cents yesterday. I can talk to her here as well, but it uses the same like chat experience I have. And I think the same, I think I have some like Agents MD instructions or prompts in here. And what I want to do is populate this space with these trades I took. Is, hey, I want to talk about this trade, and click that trade and then talk to her. Or she's also giving me feedback that is outdated. And I want to make sure I can update her prompt from inside this chat window so that she adapts to what I'm doing for adoption and gives me feedback accordingly. So those are like probably the two biggest things is some technical things I need to work out, and I want to work out the whole chat interface against my trades so it's just a little more relevant the way I want to use it. Right now it feels a bit detached. And eventually I'll have a big TradeZella landing page for all of the trading metrics that you expect to see, like profit factor and things like that. Okay, check in with the market here. We have not much happening. It looks pretty dead across the board, as we kind of expected in the pre-market plan. Show like a stacked volume imbalance here as we came above VWAP. Point of control is still kind of at the same level we've seen here. Hasn't really been migrated much since the open. It has a little bit, but it's kind of been fluctuating back and forth. But ideally, I'd like to see a pop here and see that the point of control is so close to the value area high. I'm hoping we get a pop through the... Oh man, is that refresh again? What is going on here? This has never happened before. Okay, I'll check into that. What I want to see is a kind of establish some value in this area, which allows us to give a pop into liquidity and then short. That's my... I'm not predicting the future or prognosticating, but that's a setup that's probably closest to what we have from the pre-market plan with Joy. Let's talk to her really quick. While we're talking about her, maybe her virtual ears are burning. Hey, Joy, we've been open for about 40 minutes now. Can you give me a fresh context read on the market for both ES and NQ? This is, I would argue, the qualitative aspect, the sanity check. I think this is just a bunch of churn here, not worthwhile getting into. Opening 40 minutes have confirmed your range exhaustion concern. We currently have a massive divergence between overnight intensity and the RTH execution. Volume shift, looks high. RTH volume is low. Yeah, we're actually 10% below. She's seeing like 18% the way she looks at the look back period. Street race is downgraded to demolition derby. Okay, so this is scalping, no runners. So if we do anything, it's going to be just a scalp. Not going to leave a runner. Have everything tight. Opening range structure. Right in the middle at 7517. Yep. That's what I'm seeing here as well. Neither instrument has even tested the overnight extremes or your identified resistance. Footprint momentum, recent bars in both instruments show mixed low conviction delta. Yes. NQ is a larger cell imbalance bar, 272 delta, at the same time failed to break the 29,300 level. What'd she see? Yeah, she saw this here. Okay. Update assessment. Market is currently sideways range contraction. We met the ATR requirements overnight, and now the RTH is backing and filling within that range. Yeah, it's just filling in the gaps, right? Let me go through for coaching. Neutral, bearish, pin below the previous day point of control. The S7 short and S3 long are still the valid plays, but they are miles away. Everything right now happening is churn. I like how she even uses the right phrasing here. It's great. Are you feeling the urge to find a trade? And I don't really care for the follow-up questions here as much. I want to take this out of Joy's prompt. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it. I'm finding myself wanting to talk to her anyways. No, I'm not finding the urge to trade. This is pretty much my hypothesis of what was going to happen. It was going to just churn after we exhausted the ATR range. That with FOMC coming up in less than 4 hours is probably going to mute price action. If anything, it might be more useful to come back at FOMC and just observe what's happening in the chart if I don't find anything valid to play in the next 15 minutes. Okay. I meant to say not to find anything valid to play in the next 15 minutes. Okay, apparently I have... Okay, I think I have... My mic is jammed here. What's going on here? I was going to say, if I don't find anything in the next 15 minutes to play, I might just shut it down until FOMC in 4 hours and just kind of tune back in and observe what's happening. Correct professional pivot. Your hypothesis that ATR exhaustion is leading to a pre-FOMC holding pattern is directly supported by the 18% RTH volume to the downside, or depressed rather. Yeah, here's what I talked about earlier, JD, about the middle ground. She's pulling my journal history up, and a recurring pattern of entering in the middle ground during the first hour by choosing to walk away now because the price has reached your structural levels. You are actively breaking that negative habit. This is the stuff I like a lot from Joy. This kind of stuff. If I go through the whole process of doing pre-market plans, executing, uploading my trades, having the audio recording, then capture all my emotions and my thoughts and my logic, and then have that reflected back to me the next day, so I can have these active sanity checks. Like this right here is what I like to get as far as feedback goes. If you don't see high velocity drive toward 1 year edges, next 15, shut down the platform. A probability of price covering that distance with conviction in the next 15 without news is extremely low. She's telling me I could even shut down before 15 minutes. Look at this we have. Ooh, we got a Dow and NQ both drop into the downside here. What's happening on NQ? I mean, it's not significant. It's still, I mean, NQ is still around VWAP. It's just falling out of that supply area. And we have a demand zone down here at this 626 low down at 29,181. Got this demand zone here, so probably not a lot of meat on the bone for that instrument. And the Dow, see, it's kind of going down to the -1 VWAP. Yeah, I'd be fine. I'd rather stick to my plan and trade it rather than force anything. And going red, or worse, having a big win off of a poor habit and start ingraining poor habits based on a false positive. Last point is the hallmark of a professional trader, acknowledging that a win off a poor habit is actually a tragic gain. Reinforces the behavior that eventually leads to a blow up. By sitting out this middle ground chop, you're protecting more than just your capital. You're protecting your process. The data is clear. There are zero institutional edge in this environment. Shutting down now, coming back to FOMC volatility, or just observing how price handles your levels during that move is the A+ decision. Okay, so Joey just pretty much told me to not do anything. I could do. What everything's doing here? We got ES coming to the 50-day moving average, possibly, but the real entry, the real play was down here at 7470 to 7480. I'll wait it out and see what we got here, but unless Trump does something crazy in the next 15, it's probably going to be a 0 for 0 morning. And look at this cumulative delta too. It's so non-directional, right? It's like plus 400, plus 300, plus 1,000 on the full session. It's just absolutely non-committal. I'm sure some people could scalp off of this. Like if I wanted to, I guess, right? If I want to be in a scalping mood. We could probably do that on looks like NQ might be the better fit for that, actually. For scalping. Nibbling at the edges. I'm not going to do this, but as just an observation, like we have the value area low here, which we came close to that back like 7 minutes after the open. And then we hit the value area high. And then when it came out of the value area high, you could have scalped it down to the value area low or VWAP. And now it's kind of, if it holds the value area high and starts moving back up again on NQ, that might be a nice opportunity for a scalp to the value area high. Just kind of nibble the edges. I think that'd be the only valid play here this morning if I was going to do something. That setup is not quite as clean on ES. Because you see what happened here in ES. We hit the value area low here, and it kind of went up, hit the point of control, and then went down the value area low. I guess did go back up again to the value area high, point of control, hit VWAP, close to the value area low, the value area high, kind of blew through the value area low here. Now we're kind of starting to migrate below the value area low here at a significant level in this demand zone area. And you see here on footprint charts, for volumetric, we have absorbed buyers here, 200 right at VWAP. Then there's some stacked buyer volume imbalance right at this 528 in the full session. And it looks like we're trying to form some more buyer absorption here. Although essentially we have a P shape here. Look at that. Got the P shape. Bam. And some stacked buying volume balance at this minus 523 seller delta on the full session volume profile on the current session. Oh, there you go. There's the play for a little scalp right to the upside. Now if this holds this VWAP, got 42.1% buying delta. A lot of strong buying here. Like this could be a nice little scalp to the upside. I'm not going to play it because it's like 7 points. Which, I mean, is nothing to scoff at, but just in this low volume conditions, it's so non-committal in its directionality. Yeah, there it goes. So you scalpers. Looks like it might have been good for like 5-7 points. So just come out here, the point of control and the value area, the value area high. So that could have been a little nice quick scalp. Just off of VWAP. It was like, maybe 8 points there. That's pretty much what the plays are today. So if you're looking to scalp a quick little 5, 8 points and want to sit and watch this, that's totally a valid, I think, approach this morning. And some people make good money just scalping, right? Some people are like thrive in this stuff. You have well-defined boundaries and just play off those boundaries. I feel like every time I tried scalping, I just get my ass handed to me for some reason. It's like right when I end up wanting to play a scalp trade is when all of a sudden it starts breaking that range. Man, this is just barcoding now. Look at this on the 10-minute. Okay, 7 minutes. I'm gonna shut things down. I might tune back in for FOMC. See what my work schedule is today. Let's see here. We had a stacked seller imbalance on a buyer delta, which sometimes can indicate that we have price movement now to the downside, but that's into a, you see this demand zone that's been just formed. What did this form? It's formed right at the open. Again, this is the fourth time this has happened. This data reset. VWAP, stacked seller imbalance, potential B footprint with buyers in the bottom here. At the point of control, above this seller delta. Really not much to read here. So Trump's going to be shaking hands here with glad heading, huh? Attends NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey. Trump and the Syrian president hold a bilateral meeting. Yeah, this I'd say the last 3 days have been duds for me, anyways. If I look at an RTH chart here, for the time period I play, we had Monday. Didn't really like it. Kind of just moved up, had a retest of the opening range high at 11:40 my time, which is 1:40 Eastern. Like I was off and signed up at that point. I'm not going to sit in front of the chart all day. Second day, it just tanked out of the gate and then hung out down here at the opening range low, which was yesterday, before coming back up and retest. I took this short yesterday, minor short, and didn't find any value there. Now the third day, this is even less eventful. Just kind of barcoding here in the opening hour. You see the gap here that I'd like to try filling and getting stuffed. Okay, 3 minutes left in the opening hour. I'm kind of looking forward to signing off here. It's so dull. Which boring's fine, right? You don't want boring. You don't want trading to be exciting necessarily, but you want to be taking strong setups and profitable consistently, and be boring, not high excitement and losing your shirt. It's not the kind of trading I'm looking for. It's quite a hammer here on the 1 minute. Like even the velocity indicator isn't really showing much. We had some pops here, but they're pretty minor. And again, the cumulative delta on the full session and RTH session is again muted. I mean, yesterday was wild. We had minus 20, minus 30,000, I think, at some point for cumulative delta. Again, if it's in a range of plus or minus 1,000, it's not of interest or meaningful, in my opinion. And right now, we got a couple that are showing a little stronger indicators of downside movement. Minus 3,000 for the 5 minute, minus 1,000 for the 15 minute. What is NQ showing? NQ showing positive delta on the RTH. Interesting. What is NQ doing right now? Not much. Not much, looks like. Looks like he's just kind of barcoding. Just like just like a yes. Did have some I gotta adjust these volume and balance settings. These look way off. It shouldn't be showing stacked volume and balance in every bar. Let's see, footprint. Volume and balance. Oh, here we go. Let's adjust this to maybe like 4. Do a minimum imbalance. Let's see how this looks now. Ah, oil inventories released. Okay, this looks better. Here we go. Okay, well, that was the last bit of news until FOMC. Oops. We're just ranging on NQ. ES. I think it's the same. Nothing happening. Yeah, we're just ranging here. And what I wanted to get is the play here. Pop into this area, which you can see on the volume chart. Someone's tamping. Is another refresh? This is like the 5th refresh. Refreshing every like 12 minutes, not cool. Yeah, this is the kind of zone I want to see it hit, pop into, and then get stuffed. So we will call it here. Let's see if we can lock out here. Can I lock out here for X amount of hours here? Custom. Let's do a custom lockout. Lockout ends at, well, my time is going to be 12, right? Lockout ends at 1 Central. Yep, looks good. Block trading. Okay, so I'm locked out until FOMC. And I hope everybody stays safe. Oh, hey, Scalpy. 80 and 120 point moves in MNQ are violent. Took max loss on one account and up 315 the other. Yeah, it's really just choppy across the board here. Right? It's so non-directional. NQ. I'm looking bringing up a MNQ on the trade of it chart. They got some kind of nasty wicks here sometimes. Got like some wicks here, wicks here, wicks here, wicks here. It's just, yeah, looks like it's just back and forth, right? You just kind of get such a high probability of getting chopped up. You see we're testing right now the opening range low on ES. So, yeah, not the most favorable conditions for trading. I'm going to sign off. Have a good one, everybody. I might be back on at noon, depending on what my workday looks like. But if I don't see you then, stay safe. Don't take any big gambles on the FOMC. And we'll talk to you later. Have a good one.